10:09, almost 10:10. I am Lala. I am back with The Politics of Murder. I'm telling you, this book, we are up to chapter 34. I do have my tea this time. Little oat milk this time. We'll splash oat milk, some fresh ground nutmeg. I'm ready. It's a little chilly. I made myself a long time ago. This is a twisted cowl. My favorite color is yellow, so I have that. I have a blanket around me. I'm like an old lady today. Just get over it. You don't have to even look at me. You just put it on, put your earbuds in and listen. You don't even have to look. Just listen. I'm going to read you a story. Again, I will start by saying, if you have not already started this book on my playlist, go to the playlist, The Politics of Murder. Start at the beginning. Click play all. Put your headphones on. Put your earbuds in. Kick back and listen to all of it. There are 33 chapters before this that I have already read for you. You need to listen to them all. This book is banana sandwich. Disclaimer, that is a... who said that? MS takes my words. I'll think of it. It'll come to me when I'm not trying to think of it. A comedian says it all the time. Anyways, I can't think of his name right now, but so this book it's crazy pants. Crazy pants is me, but I'm telling you, this book, the justice system failed him. His lawyers failed him. The police failed him. Everybody failed Eddie O'Brien. And in turn, never got justice for, rest in peace, Janet Downing. This happened here in Massachusetts. I live here. I can't, 53 years living here, and I'm still beside myself reading this book. I do my best to try to just read the book, but as you know, if you've listened to it right up to this point, you know that I ad-lib, that I throw my own little things in. You're used to it by now. Here we go. Chapter 34, Medical Examiner and Autopsy. Oh, this one's gonna be hard. There we go. One more sip before I get going. Good Lord. Here we go. Chapter 34, Medical Examiner and Autopsy. Dr. Leonard Atkins, the medical examiner, previously testified at the first transfer hearing. Much of what he testified to at trial has been described in that section. He had very little to add 2 years later. At trial, it was important to Eddie O'Brien's case to raise a reasonable doubt that the green penknife was the murder weapon, or the only murder weapon. Janet Downing had suffered several wounds that measured inches longer than the green penknife's blade, including 7 wounds to her right lung. These wounds passed towards the back, and their total depths measured up to approximately 4 inches, testified Atkins. In the lower front part of her right chest area were 4 wounds. One passed through the last rib. Oh my God. Forgive me. One passed through the last rib, which is made of hard cartilage, and perforated the cartilage. Its depth measured 4 inches. It would have taken severe force to inflict this wound, in the medical examiner's opinion. The green knife had a blade 3 1/8 inches long. George, on cross-examination, began by focusing on the 4 to 5 inch deep wounds. Atkins agreed that they would have had to have been inflicted by a blade passing 4 to 5 inches into the body. On redirect examination, Riley asked Atkins, question, can a blade that measures 3 1/8 inches long, would a knife of that size be capable of inflicting 4 to 5 inch wounds? Answer, yes. Question, why is that? Hold on, there you go. Answer, because of the compressibility of the body tissues. If there is a very strong or powerful force, the body tissues can compress and produce a longer wound than the length of the blade. Bob George then recrossed the witness. Question, when a knife the blade of a knife is pushed so hard into the human body that the wound is longer than the blade, does that cause any kind of bruising or contusion? Answer, it may or it may not. Question, and does that depend on where? Answer, that may be a factor. Question, okay, did you find any bruising or contusions around those particular wounds? Answer, no. Question, now it is clear, isn't it, doctor, that there is no disturbance of the skin other than the wound itself? Answer, that's correct. This was a great recross for Bob George, and would have been better if he'd realized that there still would have been one hilt attached to the knife identified as the murder weapon. That knife originally had 2 hilts, each attached by its own pin. Only one fell off. A hilt attached at the top of the blade would have prevented it from penetrating more than 3 1/8 inches, and certainly the imprint of the hilt would be clearly visible on the wound. Had George completely understood the evidence, stupid lawyer, stupid lawyer, stupid lawyer, he could have proved to the jury that the green penknife could not have been the weapon used to inflict many of the injuries. Reasonable doubt would have been raised about the green knife being the only murder weapon. This guy's a jabron, good Lord. Atkins also testified that, quote, there was a 7/8 of an inch wide stab wound in her back below the right shoulder. End quote. The green knife's blade was only 3/8 of an inch wide. Excuse me. The blade that inflicted this wound had to have been 7/8 of an inch wide, more twice the width of the green penknife. George never caught that discrepancy either. Well, why would he? He's clearly an asshat. Atkins methodology. Give me a second, not enough caffeine. Methodically, thank you. Atkins methodically described all of the 98 knife wounds in various abrasions and bruises. After this testimony, Riley introduced 16 gruesome autopsy photographs to the jury. Give me a second. I got to make sure if this picture's in here, my tea is just for naught. Okay, no pictures. We're good. Moxbox, how are you? You made to live. Good morning. Really, don't look too long because you might turn to stone. Oh, don't do it too long. Do you have a coffee or something or a tea? Good night to you too. Oh, I'm not even going to attempt your name. I'm not even going to attempt you. I'm going to call you K. We're going to go with K so that I don't kill it. Here we go. Moxbox, good morning. Are you... All right, K. K works for me. We're going to go with K. Moxbox, are you going to share your actual name or do we just going to go with Moxbox? It doesn't matter to me. I love you either way. Love you either way. I'm going to raise a glass to you. Morning tea, just to you. Oh, you have tea. I do as well. British biscuit tea, caramelized biscuit tea with oat milk and a splash. Oh, Andrea. Love you, Andrea. Now, Andrea, I have MS. I'm always going to forget. So you're Mrs. Moxbox. I'm going to forget that it's Andrea. So don't get mad at me because MS takes all my words. They disappear. I have tea with oat milk and a dash of cinnamon and some stevia, organic stevia, 2 organic stevia. I like it sweet. So, yeah, this is, if you've already listened up to this point, great. If you haven't, go to the playlist, Politics of Murder. Start at the beginning, hit play all, put your earbuds in, and kick back, woman, kick back. This book is Banana Sandwich. It's Dane Cook. That's who it is. Dane Cook. Dane Cook. Banana Sandwich is his. Disclaimer, not mine. I love Dane Cook. He's funny. Funny shit. He's a Boston boy. Very funny. But anyways, this book is just, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's amazing. It's so good. But yeah, you should definitely, you should definitely listen to the whole thing. I got through all of this. And I'm almost done. I'm almost done. I wish I could just buy all the books and read all the books here for you guys, and I would happily. But that's why I'm reading about Eddie. Yes, yep. And then after, there's another book that Money Making Mike had a guy on his page, and I would love to read that book, but I can't be buying all the books. I can't afford to do all that. So I actually put up, my page will always be free. No one ever has to pay for a sub to be here. It's always going to be free. Kay, I am good. How are you? I'm doing good. I added my MS, stop taking my words. My the Amazon wish list to this page, because there's other Oracle decks, and the book that Money Making Mike had on his page that his guest had, I put that on the Zon wish list, so that if that should magically show up, I will start reading that here and put a playlist of that book here as well. And that's about, I think it was Methuen, Corruption in Methuen, Massachusetts, man. I call it Corruptachusetts. Lived here for 53 years, and it is just absolutely disgusting. Not excited. Not excited. But not surprised. Not surprised in the least. Look at how chapped it doesn't matter how much chapstick. It doesn't matter. I could eat this. I'm not going to, but I could. And I will still have November lips. You know what I'm talking about. This time of year. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At all. I will still have, and I love Nivea. This is good stuff. I'm not getting paid. This is not paid for me to talk about this. I just happen to love Nivea. Whatever. So, love you, Andrea. You're adorable. This is what I'm reading about. Eddie, and sweet rest in peace, Janet Downing. Justice for Janet. Let's free Eddie. He does not belong in jail. I believe he did not do this. Disclaimer, that's me. I don't believe he did this. So, back to the book. Forgive me. Enjoy your tea. I'm going back to the book. If you want to hear the whole thing, find the playlist, Politics of Murder. I read from the beginning. Okay? All right. All right, baby. We got matching crocodile lips. Love ya. We got it. We're just going to match. We're just going to match. That's all. Yeah. So you either enjoy the rest of this or go back and start from the beginning and enjoy. Put your headphones. You got headphones? Do you see why I need the caffeine? Do you see? Headphones, ear pods, whatever you got, shove it in those ear canals and just go relax, enjoy whatever you got, right? You have crocodile lips, I'll have alligator. I don't know, it's just bad. I don't care. I eat chapstick all winter. It doesn't help, but I still do it. So, okay. I love you. Here we go. Back to the book. Of course, I don't know where I left off. MS is so much fun. Here we go. Oh yeah, Bob George is an asshat. I do believe that's what I said. Your name is Madama. Madama. That's a beautiful name. Madama. Very nice. I'm not going to remember that, so I'm probably going to still call you Kay, because I'm not going to remember. I have multiple sclerosis and I forget pretty much everything. So if I call you Kay, please don't take offense. But Madama is a beautiful name. Here we go. This was a great recross for Bob George, and would have been better if he'd realized that there still would have been one hilt attached to the knife identified as the murder weapon. That knife originally had 2 hilts, each attached by its own pin. Only one fell off. A hilt attached by the top of the blade would have prevented it from penetrating more than 3 1/8 inches, and certainly the imprint of the hilt would be clearly visible on the wound. Had George completely understood the evidence, which he clearly did not, he could have proved to the jury that the green penknife could not have been the weapon used to inflict many of the injuries. Reasonable doubt would have been raised about the green knife being the only murder weapon. Atkins also testified that, quote, there was a 7/8 of an inch wide stab wound in her neck below the right shoulder. The green knife's blade was only 3/8 of an inch wide. The blade that inflicted this wound had to have been 7/8 of an inch wide, more twice the width of the green penknife. George, asshat, never caught that discrepancy either. Atkins methodically described all of the 98 knife wounds and various abrasions and bruises. After this testimony, Riley introduced 16 gruesome autopsy photos to the jury, and there are no pictures right here, thank God. No matter how shocking and, one might argue, prejudicial they are, autopsy photographs come into evidence in every homicide case. They tend to produce a visceral response from the jury that can overshadow much of the other evidence, which is why defense attorneys always argue to strike them or at least limit the number of photos. The photographs are relevant to prove the, quote, extreme atrocity of the crime when that has been included in the defendant's charges. Extreme atrocity, like premeditation, is an aggravating factor that changes the severity of a homicide from second-degree murder to first-degree murder. Without premeditation or extreme atrocity, the jury's verdict cannot exceed second-degree murder. The introduction of the photographs required yet another limiting instruction from the judge. Quote, "These photos, which are about to be distributed to you, which depict the condition of the body of Janet Downing with reference to the testimony the doctor has just given concerning certain stab or incised wounds, are again, I caution you, as I did before, these are to be observed by you in terms of any clinical significance they have, any significance on the theories which I will later describe or discuss with you when I instruct you. So you are to look at it that way." Oh yeah, that's just easy. Let's just look at it that way. Yeah, sure. Well, you guys want to pull out your snacks while we do this? That's great. It's great. Good Lord. You are not to be influenced in any... Yeah. I can't. It's very hard for me to read a book and not throw in my little... It's just not. You are not to be influenced in any way by any pity or sympathy that the gruesomeness of these photos may indicate to you. So in other words, don't be human. Turn off your human button. Let's all be robots for like a few minutes and look at these gruesome pictures, and then you can be human again. Oh, my head. In other words, sympathy or empathy of any kind. No sympathy, no empathy of any kind. Don't be human while we look at gross pictures. And then, business as usual. So please consider these photographs, as I just suggested to you, only in that manner. Forgive me, I am not a robot, and I'm reading this as a mother and a human, and I come with me, will you? Let's keep reading. After all the photographs were marked and shown to the jury, Riley placed Downing's death certificate into the evidence and finished his questioning of Atkins. With his last witness on the stand, Riley formally rested his case. The Commonwealth had completed presenting its portion of the evidence. It is almost mandatory that the defense counsel, at the close of the Commonwealth's case, move for a required finding of not guilty. If this motion is not presented, you may not argue that the trial judge erred in this respect in any subsequent appeal. A motion for a required finding requests that the court find, as a matter of law, that the evidence presented by the Commonwealth failed to prove all elements of the crime. It literally requests that the judge require the jury to enter a finding of not guilty, thereby removing any decision from them. Such a motion is only granted when the evidence weighs so heavily in favor of one party and so lightly in favor of the other that no reasonable jury could find for the party that has no evidence to support its case. These motions are almost never granted but always made. The Massachusetts standards of practice that attorneys follow dictate, quote, unless it is clearly frivolous, counsel should file a motion and move at the close of the prosecution's case for a required finding of not guilty on all the charges and or any aggravating element where appropriate, end quote. George presented his motion for a required finding outside of the jury's presence, as is done with all legal arguments. McDaniel responded, quote, well, I'd like to think it would be difficult for a woman who has 90 stab wounds, whether it was stab wounds or incise wounds, which caused her death, for a person, whoever did it, not to have premeditated that particular murder. I find that highly unlikely. I think that this is sufficient, of course, to go to the jury on all issues. The motion is denied, end quote. With that, the defense was instructed to call its first witness. Oh my good Lord. Oh my good Lord. Andrea, are you still with me? Good. Tea. I need tea. Good. Christ on a cracker. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Here we go. I can't. We are up. Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? This is why I don't know how people get paid good money to do Audible and read those books. I mean, I live here in Massachusetts. This is very personal to me. I was 23 when this was happening. Was I aware of it? Yes. Was I actively participating in watching the jury and watching the trial? I was in my 20s. We don't speak of that decade. I'm just going to pin it over here. We don't talk about that. I'm lucky I'm still alive. No receipts. If you were there, you remember what happened. If you weren't, we're not going to recount it. Just letting it go. But it's just so, to me, reminiscent of what they're doing right now to Karen Read. Pin it on the girl. Pin it on Eddie. It's the same bullshit and shenanigans right now that's happening. Only Eddie was 15 and he didn't have the proper counsel. He didn't have Alan Jackson. He didn't have Alan Jackson. Moment of silence for the powerhouse that is Alan Jackson and the genius that is Yannetti. All right. I need another sip of tea. Yannetti is originally from Swampscott. I'm North Shore. I live in Beverly. He's from Swampscott. I used to nanny in Swampscott, right around the corner. North Shore people, North Shore, all I'm saying. So I'm feeling verklempt when I read this stuff. It hits home. I'm a mother of a 21-year-old. I can't imagine. I can remember back when my daughter was 15, and if someone was doing this to my daughter at 15, I would have jumped over benches in the courthouse. I'd be behind bars myself. Bob George would not know what hit him, because you don't mess with an Italian mama bear. Oh, you just don't. Karen had the best team fighting for her. Thank you. It does make me choke. It makes me choke up completely. She had all of us, everybody. She still does. She still does. She still does. Yippee! What a great name. Hello. Is that the coolest name, Yippee? Yippee! It just makes you smile. Hello, Yippee. How are you? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I like you. And honestly, everybody that subs to my page, I always return and sub to them too. After I'm reading this book, I can't do it right now because I'm reading, but I always, whoever subs to me, and I'm sure you saw that Mrs. Moxbox and Mrs. Moxbox, I sub to you guys too. Whoever subs to me, I sub to them. It's a good faith gesture. I always do that. So yeah, I will do that as well. But what is on my book? Oh, it's ink. Look at that. Amy, there's not enough caffeine in this tea. Okay. And my mock, which stands for mug of choice, MOC, my mug of choice today is that they're all Starbucks mugs from back in the day. Old school. Old school. Everybody has those big, huge, studded, covered. The only covered one that I have is for water. My tea, I enjoy in actual Starbucks mugs that are at least 14 ounces. Because tea, I need a mammoth mug of tea. 14 ounces like this. A nice size handle that I can really grab onto. You know what I mean? Isn't it? It's nice, right? It is. Let me see. Starbucks coffee. They're all Starbucks mugs. But like old school ones. You can't find the ones that I have anymore on Amazon. You can't. All the mugs that I have, they're from eBay. They're like 2001, 2002. I love it. Yeah. I have enough mugs though. I have way too many mugs. I don't need any more mugs. I don't need any more mugs at all. So I'm very blessed. I have all that I need. But like I said, I put my everyone was like, how can we donate? I am blessed, like immensely blessed. But I said, I love reading. I love reading these books, and I will happily read another one. So Money Making Mike Crawford, Young Jerks, love him. Go check out his channel. He had someone on yesterday who, again, forgive me, forgot his name, but he was awesome, and he has a book out, and I have it in my wish list. It's at the very bottom of my wish list. I don't know why. It's the highest priority. So if you do it by priority, the highest priority is that book. I'm good, thank you. How are you? How are you, Yippee? You got to be great, because with a name like Yippee, that's awesome. So it's on my wish list. So if that should disappear and head its way here, if it shows up, I will start when I'm done with this. I got to finish this first. I will start reading that book live for everyone, and start a playlist with that book, and I will read that so that everyone can enjoy that one too. I love reading. I love reading, and I'm retired, so I'm home and I can do that. So it takes me a little bit, you know. I mean, I'm a pretty fast reader. I just got this a couple days ago, so. But I'm also a talker. I'm Italian, so, you know, I like to ad lib and throw in my own little boop, you know. So I'm not one of those audible people that just actually reads and minds my business and doesn't throw in my own 2 cents. I think I've thrown in $33.25 by now of what I think. Disclaimer. My own little disclaimers. But that's me. So that's what you get. When you get a free reading from me, you get what you get. You get this. If you don't want the little ad libs and the 2 cents and the 55 cents of jabrones and the whatever, then you got to pay for Audible. But I will always be free, and I will be happily reading whatever book. I paid for this one. I should not have, because I could have used the money to supplement the SNAP that I lost. But I don't care. I needed to read this. So. Tea and some crackers will do me just fine. I will live. But the next book, I can't. It's Thanksgiving month. I can't do that. So, moving on. Chapter 35. Here we come. Defense. Oh God. Defense or no defense. I know it's backwards. You'll deal. Here we go. Defense or no defense. Here we go. Oh, thank you. These are lovely. They are from iBuy Direct, EYEBUY Direct.com. They're called Romies, ROMEY. They're the Romies, and these are the Ivory Tortoise. Thank you. Okay. Eddie O'Brien's chance to tell his side of the story was at hand. I went back to his holding cell behind the courtroom to visit with him. He was ready and anxious to go. It had been hard for him to wait for I can't imagine, 2 whole years this kid had to wait. It had been hard for him to wait 2 whole years, listening through 3 lengthy hearings about what a cold-blooded murderer he was. This kid did not do this. That's me talking. He'd faithfully followed his lawyer's instructions and hadn't spoken to anyone at the jail about his case. Consequently, only one jailhouse snitch had surfaced to say one dark and lonely night, Eddie decided to pour his heart out to him and confessed. This is a common occurrence in high-profile cases in which another inmate might be trying to buy himself a shorter sentence or gain a little notoriety. Riley informed George he was going to call this inmate as a witness. As it turned out, the inmate had not been incarcerated in the same facility. Oh, snitchy. As it turned out, the inmate had not been incarcerated in the same facility during the time that Eddie had been there. They'd never even crossed paths. Liar, 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 pants on fire. See, I ad-lib. It's what Italians do, all right? Going into this phase of the trial, Eddie still believed that he was going to sit at that witness stand and tell the truth about what happened. I asked him that day, as I had on many other days during this trial, if his lawyers had been up to the jail to prepare him for his testimony. Quote, "Not yet," quote, he said. Quote, "They said they are coming up tonight," quote. I knew then that they were not going to put him on the stand. Can you even, this kid waits 2 years. They just ignore him. Seriously. Somebody's, I think someone's having, I don't know who it is. Someone's having Bob George on their stream today. I don't know who it is. I'm going to be there. Seriously, Andrea, we got to be there. I don't know who it is. Someone's going to have Bob George. Can you believe it? Dipshit Bob George. I'm going to have some tea. Lovely. He could not be properly prepared for such an important event in one night. Bob George is his lawyer. Somebody today is having the Bob George on. Bob George is Eddie's lawyer. Eddie O'Brien's lawyer during all this bullshit shenanigan garbage. Bob George did nothing but take Eddie's family's money. They mortgaged their house twice, I believe, to pay him. He did nothing to help. Somebody today, I can't remember who it is having Bob George live. I don't know if it's the Young Jerks or somebody. I hate MS because it takes what I knew. It's gone. But somebody today, he totally dropped the ball. Oh, this ball? Oh, it's over there? Yeah, that ball. Who the hell has two first names as a whole name? Wait, hold on. Bob George. That's who. Bob George. It's almost right up there, just as bad as Jimmy James. I'd like you to meet my friend Jimmy James. No, go sit over there. No. Okay? Bob George. No. The only man that ever could get away with that, ever, and own it like it was his job, George Michael. Rest in peace, my love. Moving on. Andrea, you know what I'm saying. Poor man died on Christmas. Here we go. Okay. I didn't have the heart to tell him. He so believed that the whole case was about to turn around once he got his chance to talk. I told him I thought it was unlikely that his lawyers could prepare him in one evening. He shrugged. He said, well, they think they can, I guess. This kid was 15. He didn't know. Oh, yeah. George Michael. A beautiful, delicious legend. I gotta stop. Take that out of your head, Amy. Stop it. Move it on. Didn't even play on my team. T. Stop it. This kid was 15. Listen, seriously, don't just listen to this chapter. I read this entire book all the way up to this chapter. Yippee. Go back to this playlist on my channel. Start from the beginning. Find the first upload. Hit play all. Put your earbuds in. Put your headphones on. Clean your house. Do some laundry. Make dinner. Start from the beginning. Listen to this book in its entirety. You will lose your ever-loving marbles. You just will. Please. There's a reason I read this whole thing, so that people that could not afford the book or cannot afford Audible, or there's a wait at the library or whatever, I'm reading this for everybody, for all of you. Seriously, go listen to this whole book. You will lose your mind. I live in Massachusetts. This happened here. This kid was 15. I was 23 when this happened. It is mental. And then obviously by the time you come back to this, I'll be done. I will have finished the book. You can hear the whole thing. It is banana sandwich. It's so heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking. Massachusetts is such a disgrace and a letdown and corrupt with a capital C. I want to say something else, but I'm not going to. Here we go. Thank you. Needless to say, a lawyer cannot prepare a witness in an hour or two in a jailhouse visiting room. This is especially true when the witness is just, okay, at this point, he was 17 years old. When the crime happened, the alleged crime, he didn't do this, but when it happened, he was 15, so it's been 2 years, so now he's 17 years old, and he has never been subjected to cross-examination before. Such preparation, even with an articulate, mature adult defendant, takes countless hours of going over and over testimony, preparing him with accusatory, demeaning questions, and then teaching him how to respond without getting upset. Yeah, you can't take things personally. So I can't believe that it is happening in the wake of Karen Read trial. I am happy it's all happening, but my God, the corruption. I mean, let's just go way back. Let's just go way back. Whitey Bulger. I mean, the garbage in this state is like sewn into the soul of the state. It's really disturbing. All right, let's see. I lost my place again. Okay. Such preparation, even with an articulate, mature adult defendant, takes countless hours of going over and over the testimony, preparing him with accusatory, demanding questions, and then teaching him how to respond without getting upset, defensive, or angry, and especially without answering a question with a question of his own. It is amazing how many witnesses, when asked a question like, how did it feel when that happened, respond, how do you think it felt? How would you feel? Such responses tell the jury that the witness is angry and argumentative. That's when you take shit personally. You cannot do that. So it was clear to me that it wasn't part of the defense plan to put Eddie on that stand. This is not unusual. In fact, it's highly unusual for a defense counsel to put his or her client on the stand. For a defense with prior convictions, getting on the stand means all of those prior convictions will come into evidence. Juries are more likely to believe you committed this crime if you have committed others before. Even for a defendant with no record like Eddie, there is too much at risk that he will say or do something that triggers a catastrophe. Eddie would certainly be asked why he didn't call the police right away or go to his house and tell his father what he saw. His answers might have been because he was scared that the killer would hurt him and his family if he told anyone. Riley would have a field day with such a response. Well, you weren't scared to lie to the police, were you? You weren't scared to lie to your father, were you? And you weren't even scared to lie to your own attorney, were you? Eddie most certainly would have heard those questions as accusations that he lied about what he saw and was lying now on the witness stand. He was a kid. We all know what kids do when they're accused of lying. They generally don't respond in a calm, rational manner. Either do men. I'm just going to pin that right there. I'm sorry, is that Proctor? Also, that's the corruption still floating around my room. My bad. I apologize. Sip. Even a hint of anger coming from Eddie would have been a game changer. He just wasn't mature enough to be in control of his emotional responses. So I agree that Eddie shouldn't have testified on his own behalf, but I do not agree that this was the only way that his story could have gotten into evidence. George started the defense's case with Michelle Cameron. Excuse me. She established that she had been friends with both the Downing family and the O'Brien family for at least 12 years. Do you see when I said Proctor, I start choking? I start choking. There's a reason for that. Girl, come on. Specifically, she was friends with Jeannie O'Brien and Paul Downing. Michelle testified that she drove up and parked in front of the O'Brien house at about 8:15 on Sunday, July 23rd, 1995, to meet Jeannie and Paul so they could all return to Revere Beach together in one car. Jeannie pulled up a few minutes later, even assuming Michelle's time is correct, and the other witnesses who said it was 8 o'clock that Paul and Jeannie came home. There is still the problem with what the Reckleys heard at 8:15. If someone was attacked on the stairs at the Downing house at 8:15, surely Paul would have seen the blood on the stairwell when he walked in the house. The Reckleys were the neighbors that shared a common wall. It was a duplex, so they shared that common wall. Paul would have seen the blood on the stairwell when he walked in the house, but most assuredly, his mother was clearly not still sleeping in the den on the couch. Michelle testified that while Jeannie went into her house and Paul went into his house, she talked with Eddie and his father. They were sitting on the front porch steps with a neighbor and some children. Eddie was playful, taking Michelle's fake ID card and giving it to his father, saying, quote, "You won't believe what Michelle has, a fake ID." His father joined in the teasing, put it in his pocket, pretending to confiscate it. They were all laughing and playing around. Then Jeannie came out of the house about 8:30, 8:35. Paul came out of his house, and Michelle got her fake ID back, because that's what you did back then in the 90s. And as an adult, here, go have some alcohol. You're underage, have fun. Not a lie, that's not a lie. That's what happened. The 20s. We don't talk about it. They all got in Michelle's car and left for Revere Beach. The good old days. She remembered the time they left because she turned her radio on and it said either 8:30 or 8:35. Michelle testified that Eddie was wearing a white above-the-rim t-shirt and it was inside out. He had on dark shorts. She identified the photo of Eddie taken at the police station and said that the shirt was the same one he had on at 8:35 that night. Riley asked her whether Paul had any blood or scratches on him when he got back in the car. Michelle said she hadn't noticed any. She was driving. Paul was in the back seat. Michelle testified that they returned at about 11 or 11:10, and Paul was, quote, all upset when he learned about his mother. The day following the murder, she said the police came to her house and retrieved Paul's backpack from the trunk of her car. Why would Paul leave his backpack in the trunk of her car and not take it home with him? When you go out with your friends, just a question. When you go out with your friends, do you leave your backpack in the trunk of their car when you're going home? Or do you take your things with you when you're going home? I mean, unless you're highly inebriated and you just forgot your shit in somebody else's car, don't you take your things with you? All right. Just a thought. It's just floating up there. We're just thinking. Gina Mahoney followed Michelle Cameron on the witness stand. She told the jurors that she lived at 70 Boston Street and was friendly with the Downings, the Reckleys, and the O'Briens. She had known Edward O'Brien, Eddie's father, since he was 6 months old. She was 10 years older than Edward. Mahoney testified that Janet Downing had spent the entire day at her house on the day she was murdered. Oh, Gina was live with JFK. She was wonderful. He does such amazing interviews. He's so good. When asked by George if Downing was in fear of Eddie O'Brien that day, Mahoney answered a clear no. When George asked if Downing was in fear of anyone else, Riley objected to the question, and the lawyers went to sidebar with the judge. It was at this sidebar conference that George fumbled the facts and his argument for what Mahoney's testimony should be an exemption to the hearsay rule. This error would prevent the jury from hearing about Downing's fear of Artie Ortiz, which was at the heart of the defense's case. Girl, you better get another cup of tea because it's about to happen. George, Your Honor, I'm trying to put it in on state of mind of the victim. She threw him, Artie Ortiz, out because he was drug dealing, and this is what I believe the witness will say. McDaniel, yes. That's the judge. George, that she threw him out because she thought he was drug dealing in the house, and there was a very hostile time from his moving out. Threats back and forth. She was in great fear of him. McDaniel, what do you mean she was in great fear? Who is going to say that? George, this witness will say that when Artie Ortiz and his family moved out of the house in March 1995, it was as a result of Janet Downing catching him drug dealing in the house. That's when he left. She had to, McDaniel, did she see the drug dealing? George, no. McDaniel, then how does she know? Riley, it's hearsay, isn't it? McDaniel, that's my point. George, state of mind exception to the hearsay rule. McDaniel, no, not in these circumstances it isn't. George, the state of mind of this, well, she will say that Janet Downing told her that. McDaniel, yes. George, but moving to the next step, Janet Downing's fear of Artie Ortiz was expressed at the same time. McDaniel, but that is totem pole hearsay. George, it's the victim talking to her. McDaniel, she is telling me something someone else told her. George, are we talking about the drug dealing or the fear? McDaniel, who told her? George, Janet Downing, the victim, told her that she was in fear of Artie Ortiz. McDaniel, yeah. George, when she put him out of the house in March, state of mind of the victim under Commonwealth versus Borodine, it's admissible. Sorry, I couldn't read that. If she had a fear of Ed O'Brien, if it was admissible in this case as state of mind of the victim. McDaniel, okay, but suppose she was, okay? Let's assume, for the sake of arguing, that she was in fear of Ortiz, okay? What about it? How is that relevant? George, how is it relevant? It's relevant because Artie Ortiz's blood was consistent with some of the blood at the crime scene. They, the prosecution, can joke and laugh about this all they want, but it's important on third-party culprit, which is part of the defense. It's part of this defense. I mean, I have a right to explore. Only you determine. McDaniel, I haven't even answered. I haven't said a word. I'm just standing here listening. I am just standing here and I see all this whispering and so forth, back and forth. That's okay too, but I have some work to do. George, I basically said it like it is. The fear of Artie Ortiz is something that came from this victim as being said to her by the victim herself on the day of the murder. McDaniel, is that what she's going to say? George, no, she'll say, McDaniel, on the day of the murder? George, no. What I'm saying is I am now with her on the day of the murder when she did, no, she did not say it on the day of the murder. I can't with him. I can't with him. Hi, Barb. Good morning. Hi. For real. Girl, get your beverage. Get your mug. Get your mug of choice. Fill it with something hot. I'm not judging if you put something else in there to make it toasty. I don't care. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. Downing did say it on the day of the murder. Why was George denying it? Did he not remember when it was said? Oh my God, George, you imbecile. McDaniel indicated that if it was not too remote in time, that he would permit the witness to testify about whom Downing was afraid of. Oh, good girl, get your, see? I'm gonna start a tea club. Yeah, I'm gonna put the tea that I drink in my wish list so you people can see what it is that I get. You don't have to send it to me, I have plenty. I'm gonna put it so you guys can see what I get, so you can know what I drink. Or maybe I'll just post it on the channel. So good. So good. Anyways, moving on. Ugh. Riley finally entered the discussion and noted that there were prior cases that held that the victim's state of mind as to whom she was afraid of or whom she thought might harm her are not admissible into evidence. He requested a short break in order to retrieve copies of those cases from his office. Bob George said he'd already written a memorandum on it and submitted it to the court. Since the judge had not read the memorandum, well, why would the judge do that? That means he's doing his job. Since the judge had not read the memorandum or the cases, McDaniel decided to delay. Oh, that's what they do here. They delay, postpone, delay, push it ahead, brush it under a carpet. Sure. Excuse me a minute. I feel better. McDaniel decided to delay any decision on whether Mahoney could testify about Downing's fears of Ortiz. He told George to move on with the testimony. George, I'll bounce back to it, Your Honor. I'll come back to it. Suddenly, McDaniel called George and Riley back to the sidebar. The sidebar. McDaniel, as a matter of fact, I do recall a case just recently. A case of, I think Judge Murphy was the judge on it. It was reversed on that grounds. I'm pretty sure there was such a case. Riley's position is quite correct. In the meanwhile, I will wait. I know there was a case on it. Let's wait. George, I want to clarify something at sidebar. The statement made about the fear of Ortiz was made on the day we are talking about, July 23rd, 1995. McDaniel, even so, I think it's too remote in time anyway. It's only the murder day. That's too remote. That's too remote. Unless it's the exact second of that murder. That's just not close enough. Obviously, the judge was either not listening or did not realize that July 23rd was the day the Downing was killed. Did these people not drink caffeine back then? I mean, say what you want. Say what you want. Say what you want about Bev. But that girl was not drinking water in that sippy. The girl had some business going on in that cup. And it wasn't tea, and it wasn't coffee. Boozy Bev. Why do you think she was always tired? Is this going to take long? How long is this going to take? Can we break? Are we done? How long is this? Can we break for lunch? It wasn't lunch. It was liquid lunch. You all know you watched Bev. Come on now. Not that she did any better job. I'm just saying. She at least had something going down in her mock, right? Let's go. Mahoney continued to testify that she'd seen Ortiz at the murder scene when she went outside at about 10. He asked to use her phone at her house. She permitted him to do so, and when he got off the phone, he had announced that he talked to the hospital and that Downing had been pronounced dead. In fact, Downing was still in her house at the time, being worked on by EMTs. She then observed Ortiz cross over to Downing's house and try to go past the police tape and walk into the backyard. He had told her he'd lost his keys back there. Interesting. The police wouldn't allow him past the crime scene tape. George still had no ruling as to whether or not he'd be allowed to question Mahoney about the conversation with Downing regarding Ortiz that took place earlier on the day of her murder. What do we do? He had the option of asking the court to allow him to recall her to the stand after the ruling was made. He did not choose that option. Why? Hi, Dave. Good morning. Good morning. Mix that concrete, baby. Mix it up good. Mix it up good. Why would he choose that option? Let me ask you guys a question. Why would a lawyer choose that option? That would mean he's doing his due diligence. I mean, he took all their money. He already got paid. So he already got paid. So why bother to do any of the work that he was already paid for? I say make them work first, then pay them. Maybe then he would have done the work. You already gave him the money. Thanks, I already got your money. You know what I'm saying? He don't do the work, right? He's done the work. What he's doing? He's already got the money. I'm not gonna do the work. You paid me already. Half, or like a quarter of what I owe you. Show me some results. Italians aren't paying your ass until you show me what you can do. Show me what you can do. I need results, please. Or you get in the wooden spoon. All right? And no more cash. George, I'm asking permission to put questions to this witness as to whether she mentioned Mr. Ortiz to her on the day of the murder and leave it at that. McDaniel, what? If she mentioned what? I didn't follow your question. I'm sorry, do you not speak English? George, whether during the last hours that she was talking to Janet Downing, whether she mentioned Artie Ortiz to her. George, dude, drink some caffeine before you go to court, buddy. McDaniel, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant anyway. On what planet is that irrelevant, dude? Riley, it's hearsay. McDaniel, why is it irrelevant? George, are you finding this to be hearsay? Because I suggest to you it's state of mind. It's under the state of mind exception to the hearsay rule. McDaniel, well, my point is, what is the point to the question? I'm sorry, are we playing dodgeball in the backyard? Or are we in a fucking court of law? That's what I'm asking you. Did you talk to Ortiz on the last day of this incident? Is that the question you want? George, no. McDaniel, okay, what then? George, did she discuss Ortiz with you the last day? McDaniel, did she talk about Ortiz to her the last day? Yes or no? George, yes. McDaniel, okay. Oh, thank you. George, okay, thank you. George asked Gina Mahoney whether during the entire day that she'd spent with Downing on July 23, 1995, Downing had mentioned or discussed Artie Ortiz. Mahoney said yes, and George thanked her and passed the questioning to Riley. That's a brush under the carpet if I ever heard one. George did not reserve the right to recall. Can't wait till somebody has George. They're gonna have someone's having George on live today in the stream. I'm only gonna read a few more of these chapters and then I'm gonna stop because I'm gonna watch when they have George on live. I'm just telling you. George did not reserve the right to recall her. George is an imbecile. Thinking happy thoughts, thinking happy thoughts. Riley asked several questions about whether or not Mahoney had noticed any blood or scratches on Ortiz the night of the murder, and Mahoney said she hadn't. Riley announced he had no further questions, and Mahoney walked out of the courtroom with a lot of information that would never be shared with the jury. As a mother, I'm nauseous right now. The jury was discharged until Monday morning. Of course, they leave him with an entire weekend to think of all this crap. But the day was far from over. Attorneys Riley, George, and Stelzer went into the judge's lobby to discuss this state of mind of the victim issue yet again. The judge wanted to know if any of George's other witnesses were going to present this problem of the victim's state of mind when they testified the following week. George went through this whole witness list and told the judge that he was, quote, basically over the issue of Artie Ortiz that I can see, ... So Gina Mahoney, was it? So far as state of mind of the victim, I stay away from state of mind of the victim. McDaniel, yes, we left all that out. George, right, so I am very careful, and they will not discuss it on the stand because all of them knew it. They knew she, Janet, was concerned about things being moved around, but they are going to stay away from it. This guy... What was George's reasoning for staying away from this testimony? Mahoney would have testified that Downing believed it was Ortiz, who still had keys to her house. Oh, he did. He did. I believe it. That's me. I believe he did. I bet you he still does. Whoever lives in that house now, change every fucking lock to that house, okay? That's me talking. Change all the locks. Good Lord. Mahoney would have testified that Downing believed it was Ortiz, who still had keys to her house, who was coming in, moving things around, trying to scare her. He's a piece of rat's ass. Mahoney would have testified that she observed Ortiz's cab at the Downing house many weekends while Downing was at work and the children were in school. She would have testified that she had told Downing to get a restraining order against him. Those don't work. You need a strong Italian woman with a big wooden spoon. And no fear. Try it, asshole, try it. It wasn't hearsay testimony. These were Mahoney's own observations and statements. Moreover, it was consistent with Ortiz possibly having some role in Downing's death. Why not let Riley's witnesses testify that things were being moved about in the house in the weeks prior to the murder? That testimony would have helped, not hurt Eddie. Downing had never told anyone she thought it was Eddie who was coming into her house and moving things around. She had said she thought it was Ortiz. What would Downing's best friend, Jean McCreary, have said? Riley never called her as a witness. Why? Because she likely would have told the jury that Downing was terrified of Ortiz and thought it was Ortiz coming into her house to scare her. Men bullies? Bully men, do not scare me. You're weak. There's a reason you're a bully? No, sorry. You have big trucks, big cars. There's a reason. Not scared. In the least. You pick weak people to bully because you know that you can. Last guy that bullied me, threw him down a flight of stairs, kicked him out of my house. He's never been back here since. Why didn't he ask him about his cab being parked? Why didn't George call Artie Ortiz to the stand and ask him about his keys that night? Why didn't he ask him about his cab being parked at the Downing house before the ambulances arrived? What time he picked up his cab that night? Where he'd been in the hour between 8 and 9? None of this speaks to a well-thought-out theory of the defense. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, because a guy was in charge. Sorry, Dave. Listen, not all men. This guy, okay? Not having a coherent theory of the case, not understanding the evidence was advantageous to Eddie. Not thoroughly understanding the scientific and DNA reports and the exculpatory evidence that was available to the defense all pointed clearly to the real problem, an ill-prepared and ineffectively tried case. Bunch of jabrones. Thank you, Barb. I rolled out of bed, threw this thing on my head, and I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I'm not. This is no. I didn't do anything. I woke up, threw some shit on my head, on my neck, made some tea, and I'm here with you all with the book. That's it. Jesus takes the wheel, people. That's all. I'm telling you, this book, I'm reading this now at 53 years of age as a mother to a 21-year-old beautiful young woman who was at one point 15, who, if I was the mother of a 15-year-old who was being railroaded by people that I had paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to and had to remortgage my house twice to do this, and they did nothing for my child who has spent a lifetime behind bars for something I know they didn't do. There isn't a wooden spoon big enough for what I have planned. There just is not. God bless the O'Briens. Mr. and Mrs. O'Brien have the patience of every saint. Every saint. Every saint. All right. I'm going to pause here because here's the deal. This is almost empty. You see how I read these chapters. I will read more. I promise you I'll come back. I will read more. But I need more tea. This biatch is empty. There is no reading unless there's a full cup. I need a full mug of tea, okay? Mug of choice. I need another full mug with hot business in it, okay? I love all of you. I promise you I'm going to come back. I really will. We're going to upload this. Give me a few. I need a screaming hot cup of tea to calm the voices and all the things that's happening up in here. I will come back. I love you all. I shall return. Bye-bye.